What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. So, if you saw the Regis Prograis, Jack Catteral fight, I don't know how you all saw the fight. Y'all can talk to me in the comment section on that. Now, Regis is saying his friends was telling him he think he might have been ahead up until the fact that he got knocked down. I don't know how the judges had it scored up until that point, but Regis basically, he definitely lost the fight. I don't think he lost only because of the knockdown. So, I don't know. I seen him get outboxed. One thing we know about Regis, we know that he can't box. We know he's one-dimensional. He's very limited. Goes back to, 3 years ago, when I said, a video I did, and I asked the question, is it that the 135-pound division was just better than 140? Because 140 had names. They weren't superstar names, but they had names. They had a respected division. Now, we saw Catteral get robbed that first fight with Josh Taylor that they called a draw. And then the second time around, he clearly won. Now, we know that Josh Taylor, he defeated Regis when they fought. Now, he was asked a question afterwards in the interview, would he be willing to fight Josh Taylor in a rematch? And he says, well, yeah, but at 147. So he wants to go up and weight. Regis is 35 now. Sometimes it just comes down to a fighter just doesn't have it anymore, or sometimes it just gets to the point where they've peaked already, and he's as good as he's going to be. Going up in weight may work against Regis for this reason. Regis has been really nothing but a puncher his whole career. He can handle certain styles, obviously, but I don't think that Regis Prograis, because he doesn't sound sure about what he wants. And like he said, he was in the emotion at the time. He's saying one thing now, he might say something later, different next week, next month, or whatever, which it happens. You feel one way. But when you doubt yourself, whenever you get to a point where you're, let's look at Spence, for example, right? Now, Spence, when he lost to Terrence Crawford, he was saying that he definitely wanted the rematch, but at 154, which I'm going to talk about him in a little bit because, he hasn't fought since the Terrence Crawford fight. And not saying it's the same exact thing as with Regis, but fighters do that. When they lose, they start saying it, and because he's not only just saying that he's thinking about going to 147, he's also saying it might even be time for you to just look to do something different. And even when the guy asked him, do you want to say anything to your fans, he said, thank y'all for just being with me my whole career. And a lot of times, man, look, a fighter is not going to come out and say what they really want to say, because they don't want to give whoever they may step back in the ring with any confidence that they're not really committed. And when you start telling yourself you want to do other things, that's when things can really backfire on you, because your focus and your passion may not be there. Deontay Wilder spoke about not having, losing his passion for boxing and losing love for the sport, and saying he didn't really miss the sport and all of that. And I don't care what he would have did. I think Joseph Parker still beats him regardless. Joseph Parker won because he's a better fighter. Zhang knocked him out because he's a better fighter. It is what it is. But point is, even for the people that's reacting like they're so shocked about it, you expected Deontay to come in there and do what you normally see him do, like how he did Helenius to these guys. But like I said, when you step up in competition, it's different. But people think it's just a coincidence. Well, as far as Regis goes, for example, the way he got whitewashed by Devin Haney. And he said the same thing about Catteral that he said about Devin Haney. He has sneaky power. He said the same exact thing. He has sneaky power. Listen, we're not saying, oh, I'm letting him hit me because I don't think he can punch. No, he got something through that you didn't see, and it dropped you. So at the end of the day, for Regis Prograis, I look at him, he's not going to get any better. You know, he's the same fighter he's always been. You know, he's there to be hit. The more he mixes it up, you know, he has a punch. And this is the problem with punchers, especially in this era where they think that's all they need. And when they have nothing else to fall back on, you see exactly how limited they are. So with Regis, I think if he stays at 140, it's obvious he feels like he's outgrown the division. Now, they all say the same thing: when I go up, I'll be stronger. But if that be the case, right, even if you're stronger, it doesn't improve your boxing skills. And there's guys at 147 that can crack. And he probably feels like he go to 147, he might get a shot at Jaron Buzinis, who will destroy Regis. Probably knock him out. They'll probably knock Regis out, and probably early too. Jaron Ennis would crush him, man. That wouldn't even be competitive. Boots is too skilled for him. But at the same time, hey man, do what you got to do, Regis, and you know, he did what he did. His career was what it was, man. But I know when you start talking like that and you get to a certain age, it never works out the way that you want it to. It's one thing to win a fight, even if you lose and go up, and then you shine and look better. Then we're on to something, which leads me to Errol Spence. You know, people keep talking about what Errol can do, and they're basing it on the past. And we can't, you know, like we say, people always talk about we base on their last fight. Well, if you base anything on Errol's last fight, we know he has heart, you know, and we've seen what happened with him and Crawford. This is exactly what I really think happened. I believe Errol Spence got beat so bad. Look, we're not going to overlook his fight with Garcia, his fight with Porter, and, you know, all the other guys that he fought and beat. We're not going to act like those fights didn't happen, because they did, okay? But when he got in there with Terrence Crawford, this is the biggest fight of his career, vice versa. And it wasn't even competitive. And I believe, honestly, that loss drained him of that fire, that desire, that passion. Then he has his falling out with Derek James. Now, I keep hearing different stories every other week. Spence versus Fundora is on. Spence versus Fundora is off. Crawford versus Fundora is on. So which one is it? You keep hearing all these different things, which I don't even get into it, because if a fight's locked in, it's locked in. And I have heard nothing locked in. We haven't even seen a training video of Errol Spence. The last thing we seen Errol Spence do, remember when he was overweight, jumping rope, singing, "Change Will Come." So what are we even going by? And we heard an audio of him saying that the fight was just rescheduled. And I think, you know, the beating he took, I don't know if Spence's confidence is the same. I mean, how do you lock in a fight, but then you don't fight? And on top of that, if this guy, if Spence and Fundora was training for a fight right now, you see Fundora training, you see Spence training, we'd find out who Spence's new trainer is going to be, all these things, and you want to promote the fight. And people are definitely going to want to see what Spence looks like since that last fight. Is he still, you know, a top player, or is he done? And to be honest with you, I won't be shocked if Spence is actually done. He's just been out the ring way too long, man. Far too long. And the type of ass whooping he took, he's going to have to, you know, he's going to want to come back and win big and look good winning. And we don't know if that ass whooping he took from Crawford took a lot out of him. We don't know. I don't think Spence is the same, though. The inactivity doesn't help you. And as a veteran in the sport, you know that. You know you need to stay active. And the fact is, I think the type of ass whooping he took, and especially the damage to his face, that he wants to make sure that he's 100% cleared. Like, he knows he's ready. But what is Spence working on? I mean, all the videos we saw was him feeding animals and doing stuff with farm animals and getting in and out of a car with a pot belly. Like, we haven't seen any training at all. And that dedication and hunger that you're used to seeing a fighter have, when you don't see it anymore, You can lie to yourself because you like the fighter and you want to see the fighter come back and do all of these things. I always like Spence as a fighter. I'm just being honest about what I think. I don't think Spence is the same. I listen, I know that when people train, like I said, they don't get in front of a camera and say the things that they really feel when it's on the downside. But Spence, you think about how many videos you go, if you was to go back in the past and just look week after week after week after week after week, you see Spence in the gym training. And you think that all of a sudden now, he's just the same fighter and his hunger's not the same. I think his hunger's gone. I think his desire's not there like it was. And I feel like physically he's not the same fighter. And that he's questioning himself in a lot of ways. Is it even worth it? I really believe that Spence has things he has to work out inside. And I don't think Spence will be the same fighter. He's been out the ring way too long. And despite the fact that he's a few years younger than Terrence Crawford, you know, for him to get beat like that, and I don't care even for him to say he want the rematch, but at 154, and the fact that he's supposedly fighting at 154 regardless, he's just not making himself available. He's not doing interviews. He's not doing anything. And that's not what Errol Spence is known for. Spence is known for being in front of that camera promoting whatever fight he has going on and staying in the gym. And you always see him in the gym doing videos and training, and you don't see that now. And whoever he would go to as a trainer, well, they would have to mesh together well. We don't know if him and if him and Derek James work things out. If he has a new trainer. We don't know any of this stuff. All we know is that he got beat by Terrence Crawford, and he's just been like in seclusion since then. And for someone to be training for a fight, other fighters in the gym training in these same gyms, somebody's going to come past him. Somebody's going to be in there with the camera. You don't hear anything. You go on his channel, you go on Fondora's boxing channel, you don't see any fight, anything posted about an upcoming fight, an actual day. You don't see anything. You don't see anything. And this is not the same hunger, man. This is not the actions of the same Errol Spence that we have been seeing prior to him fighting Terrence Crawford. This is just not the same guy. And I don't think that he's going to be the same. Sometimes, like I said, man, you got to know when to hold him and got to know when to fold him. And, for him to prove me wrong, which I'm not, I would hope that I am wrong, to be honest with you. But I'm not. I don't think that I am wrong. I don't think Errol Spence is going to be the same fighter ever again. And I think that he needs a big win for him mentally to even bounce back, to have the same confidence. Not saying he don't have the heart, but the confidence that he can go in there and compete and be dominant and win like he was already doing. And when fighters get older, and it's like when Roy Jones, went up and gained all that weight, then came down and fought Tarver. You notice how Roy Jones wasn't the same after the Tarver fight. The first one, he dealt with the weight, and I thought he handled himself pretty damn well for somebody who was gassed like the third round. And Roy Jones, one of the things that he took pride in was his conditioning. And Roy was gassed already in the third round in that fight. But I'm talking about after the rematch when he got knocked out. Roy was just never the same after that. Now, Spence didn't get knocked out, but he got knocked down several times. He got beat up. He took an ass whooping. And, Roy just went up and won a heavyweight champion, chip belt. And then to come down and the rematch, I wouldn't say, he should have never fought Tarver in a rematch. No, he did what he did. And it just didn't go his way. And when you get a certain age and you lose like badly like that, it has a different effect on people. You see it all the time. Which is one of the reasons why, too, I said, hey, I don't know You know, like a lot of people kept asking about Anthony Joshua. And I'm saying, I don't know. I need to see AJ again against Dubois. For one, you got to beat the man that beat you. But he fight another top-level, tough fighter, and he go in there and he wins, then you can't write him off just yet. But if he goes in there and gets squashed by Dubois or anybody else, you pretty much can say it's over. Now, all it takes is one fight, then all of a sudden you're right back in there, right? But it's like Anthony Joshua, what, 34, 35 now? Same thing, man. Where, like, you know, like I said, some people, they get to the point, man, especially when the money's good and you don't even have to fight anymore. Sometimes, man, like I said, you have the heart, but the desire and the confidence is just not the same. Because you don't really have to do this shit anymore, but you choose to. You know what I mean? And that starts to take a toll on a person a lot of times. Like, they just feel like, man, do I really want to keep doing this? How long? How much longer? Everybody has a certain threshold, right? And you get to a certain point where you get, you know, they get tired of getting punched in the face, get tired of getting hit in the ribs, they get tired of waking up 3 o'clock in the morning to go jog, you know, and things just happen. And then it starts to show in the ring. And then sometime, you know, rare, but some fighters might retire from the sport for a while and then come back and get refreshed and come back and do a little something, you know. But yeah, I mean, you know, you got to be realistic, and that's one thing that they all have in common right now. Regis Prograis, you know, Errol Spence, Anthony Joshua, they all like the same age. You know, you get to a certain point, it's like, you know, what's going on. You know, somebody also asked me about Jamal Charlo. I read a story. I didn't see a video. I read a story about Jamal Charlo crashed his white Lamborghini or something like that. Some type of white car he had, and he got a DUI for that. And I don't know. A lot of times you hear things, I don't know if it's true or not. But he came back in his last fight and looked great. And he hasn't been back in the ring. And we know, like him, Deontay Wilder, Jamel as well, dealing with a lot of personal things in their life and stuff like that. And yeah, all this stuff takes toll, man. So a lot of times, man, and they're the same thing, they're the same age. That's what I'm saying. It just gets to that point where a lot of guys, they get to that point where it's like, you know what? They don't want to accept that they're not the same. They don't want to accept that they're burnt out. But if it comes down to that, and you're in there losing to guys that you normally would have smoked, you know, or put up a better fight against, at least, you know, but especially when it's somebody that you would have smoked normally, it's time to just pack it up and do something else. But, you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm hearing that one of the Charlos, I think Jamel, first I heard Jamal, then I heard Jamel, supposed to be on the undercard or either a co-main event fight with Tank versus Lamont Roach. I don't know. You know, it's like I said, you know, boxing has gotten to the point where it's more gossip, more he said, she said, more news that you don't even know if what you're hearing is true a lot of times. So, all things that you see. That's why I don't really, you know, watch a lot of shit, man. Certain things I watch just to hear the story, like what's going on. But a lot of times you hear you see these thumbnails, you watch something and a person is just talking and monologuing, you know, like, okay, this person don't even know if it's going to be an actual fight or not. They just, you know. So I don't know, y'all. We have to see these guys in the ring, and I'm not going to say one thing that I you know, really it's hard. It's like annoying to hear fighters say they had a bad night. Oh, I didn't put up a good performance. Bro, listen. You put up the best fight you could that night. You were in a war. You were in a good fight. You were in a good scrap back and forth. Okay, somebody had to win. Somebody had to lose. And you know what? It just feels better when a fighter says, hey, man, he brought his game. I brought my game. He pulled it off. You know? Hey, man, he brought his game. I brought my game. I pulled it off. Versus, well, you know, I didn't follow my game plan, or, you know, man, I know I could do better. You know, I should have been doing, like, bro, look. Stop. There's no need for all of that. Your opponent is not coming to make you have an easy night. Your opponent is coming to destroy you. So when you have an opponent that's just as determined as you are, guess what? It's either going to go your way or it's going to go your opponent's way. And so, yeah, we can all look and say, yeah, I should have been doing this and that, but don't make any excuses, man. You lose, you lose. Basically, Regis said, Catteral won the fight. He deserved it. He went out there and won it. Okay, so he's not, he said everything on him was hurting. Now, he did say his knees, this, that. He in a way, if you listen to him, he indicated like he was saying that things was hurting on him. He didn't want to directly say it, so it's like he kind of hinted at his knees. He said everything hurt. Other things that had nothing to do with in the ring, meaning I came into this fight with injuries. So, but listen, it is what it is. And 147, because he can punch, people might think that that's a good idea, but that might be a bad idea. Well, we don't know. It's up to him. Hey, that man got the right. If he want to go to 147 it is. If he decides he doesn't want to fight anymore, whatever it may be. But I think that Regis, he's just going to have a tough time fighting against the top guys that can actually box. Regis looks better when he has someone that just stands there, flat-footed, no real head movement, anything, and that's there to be hit. Otherwise, at 147, there's guys that can crack as well. And like I said, for one, if he goes to 147, you don't get your ass whooped, then jump in there and like Gerard Ennis wouldn't have anything to gain out of just beating the Regis that just lost the way he did, So if he can go to 147 and get one or two good significant wins, hey, who knows? And as guys get older, they fight less. So you got some people, they went from fighting twice a year to once a year. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Regis. Errol Spence, I think Errol's done. I really do. I feel like, even not saying he won't fight again, but even if he does fight again, I don't think we see the same Errol Spence. I think Errol just let too much time go by. Maybe he had to. I don't know. But when you keep hearing about supposed fights that nothing happens, there's something going on there. Believe me, there's something going on there. And it's something, I'm not talking about negotiations or nothing, but that would be all over the social media news if that was the case. It's basically, even the fight being pushed back, that was Errol Spence's team. And for whatever reasons that fighters do the things that they do and they end up getting back in the ring anyway, we shall see what happens if this fight ever happens. But I think we got a Errol Spence that's at the end of his rope. And that's truly what I believe. And not to mention, man, like, not only, like I said, it's not about him getting in front of a camera to prove a point of anything other than I'm back, I'm ready, let's get it going, And I'm gonna end this video with, Devin Haney says he wants the Catteral fight. And he says the only person that can make this fight happen is Turkey. So I don't know what's the situation with Eddie Hearn and Devin Haney. I mean, I know there's been a little friction, at least on Devin's side, towards Eddie. And so I don't know. I'm not going to say too much about the fight until we know that it's actually going to happen. But he's saying it's the fight he wants. We already know what happened with Racist Ryan, and basically, him saying that why would I enroll in Nevada because the Haney says so? Why would I do anything for them? These two are suing me. I think that you should do it so because it's the right thing to do. And if you really wanted that rematch yourself, like you claim, well, yeah, you do it. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it because you're participating to help keep the sport clean. So it's not about because they asked you. That's the excuse that you're making to not, do it. So anybody from this point on that fights Ryan are pretty much going to request testing. If they're smart, they will. Because don't be shocked after all of this that, like, if he was to do it again. So yeah, I mean, Catteral versus Haney. We'll see if that actually materializes. But as of now, it's a good win for Catteral, and yeah, you know, we have these fighters that some people are on their way out, man. But we'll see how it goes down. Talk to me in the comment section, y'all. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.